Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Monday evening, thank you for your company. Our top story. Back behind bars, a man jailed for killing an off-duty police officer is sentenced again for drugs and money laundering offences. Timmy Donovan's gang laundered up to £13 million. Also tonight, a month on from the New Year floods, the homes in Haydock, which are little more than a shell.
Coming back every other day to check on things and just seeing what was once our home is now just a shell. It's just horrendous for us all.
How to solve a problem like Marcus. Manchester United ship their star striker out on loan to Aston Villa.
They certainly think he's past his best and not at a Champions League level.
This will be the challenge that he needs to get him back to where he was, and he'll come back and he'll score all the goals again for Man United.
Picture postcard perfect. We'll start our series inspired by you of 25 special people or places in 2025.
And it's been a pleasant day today in the northwest. We got highs of 11 degrees, so above average for the time of year. But temperatures are going to start to drop. So join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
A man who killed an off-duty police officer in Liverpool 10 years ago is back in prison tonight, this time for drugs and money laundering offences. Timmy Donovan was convicted of the manslaughter of PC Neil Doyle in 2015. After he was freed on licence, Donovan became part of a criminal gang, and today he was sent down for 14 years. Andy Gill reports from Manchester Crown Court.
In December 2014, PC Neil Doyle was in Liverpool with colleagues for a Christmas night out. They were involved in an incident with another group of men in which PC Doyle received a punch to the neck which killed him. Timmy Donovan and another man were jailed for manslaughter. After serving part of his sentence, Donovan was released, but started to immediately deal drugs and launder money while still on licence for manslaughter.
I think it just shows a total lack of remorse, total lack of respect for the law, and the fact that that incident certainly had no effect on whether he would engage in criminality or not. Straight out the door of the prison and he was back into the game in relation to drug dealing and money laundering.
These offences date back to 2020. Donovan was pictured at a car dealer's in Liverpool, where another member of the gang worked and where some of the criminal cash was stored. Today, Donovan was jailed for 14.5 years after admitting conspiracy to deal cocaine and heroin and money laundering. The scale of the money laundering was vast. As well as drugs and cash, officers from the National Crime Agency recovered spreadsheets detailing millions of pounds owed to and by Donovan for drug deals.
It wasn't laundering just for local gangs, but for wide-reaching gang across the northwest and north. So we went from probably a midstream money launderer releasing drugs funds to probably a wide northern money launderer.
Donovan and 5 other men were sentenced to a total of 34 years for drugs and money laundering offences. They were caught when officers recovered messages from the EncroChat messaging platform, which criminals thought was secure. Officers uncovered messages between Donovan and other criminals in which he asked for news about far ones. That's a reference to the importation of cocaine on container ships. He was also seen to be haggling over the price of kilograms of cocaine and heroin. The court heard today that Donovan is genuinely remorseful and regretful over his involvement in PC Doyle's death. PC Doyle's widow, Sarah, has been kept up to date about today's sentences. Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight at Manchester Crown Court.
Now, for those of us not directly affected, the New Year floods just a month ago may feel like an increasingly distant memory, but those caught up in them say that they have been soul-destroying. At Haydock in Merseyside, where they're doing their 4th flooding clean-up, residents say that they can't face going through it again. As Mairead Smith's been finding out today.
These fans and heaters are on around the clock to dry out these homes in Haydock that flooded on New Year's Day. This is the 4th time that Debbie has had to deal with the flood since she moved here.
Back to the bare brick?
Yeah. Stripped right back, obviously a lot higher this time because the water was deeper.
How does it make you feel coming in here, seeing your home like this?
Sick. Doesn't feel like a home, it's just a shell. It's just sickening.
Debbie's is one of 12 homes on West End Road that flooded when the River Sankey burst its banks. Residents are calling for a long-term solution.
We've had regular meetings with councils and other agencies involved over the years, and they're putting all different measures into place to try and alleviate the flooding. But it's just to no avail. I can't go through this again, you can't. Your body just can't cope with it, you can't, it's just impossible.
St Helens Borough Council say the flooding was caused by a significant national storm, which brought more than a month's rainfall in 24 hours and river levels to their highest point in 100 years. They say their officers will coordinate an investigation into the cause of the flood, working with the Environment Agency, the responsible authority for the river that burst its banks, alongside partners in United Utilities and the Canal and River Trust. Down the road, Daniel is dealing with the clean-up in his house.
The floodproof door, what didn't do anything.
I believe your 6-year-old was worried that you would end up drowning because it was so severe.
As the water was rising, it was rising up the stairs. And at the top of the stairs is when my little boy looked down and seen the water rising up through the stairs. There was nothing that we could do apart from, Dad, are we going to drown? We've currently just been put into rented accommodation now for 6 months, and we just got to play it day by day and take everything as it comes.
Tony lives in number 11. The floodgates from his house ended up floating by his front door. Like Debbie, he's dealt with 4 floods and wants the council to consider buying the properties so they can move out and move on.
We're never going to solve it, no matter how much money they spend, all the agencies together. So compulsory purchase will be the best thing to stop us going through this again.
Mairead Smith, BBC North West Tonight, Haydock.
It's just so awful for those caught up in it. Now, let's take a look at some of the other stories making headlines in the North West tonight. And a man's been appeared in court after a Quran was allegedly burned at the Glade of Light Memorial in Manchester. 47-year-old Martin Frost from Stretford was charged with causing racially and religiously aggravated intentional harassment, alarm and distress. Network Rail's issued a warning to pedestrians following a near miss at a level crossing in Southport. This woman, as you can see, narrowly avoided being struck at Crescent Road in Birkdale. Network Rail says she didn't pay attention to warning lights and sirens. The Bury cycling team has paid tribute to an 18-year-old rising star who died while out on a bike ride at the weekend. Aidan Worden died after being hit by a car in Darwin on Saturday. 360 Cycling says everyone is heartbroken. The Windermere ferry won't be replaced for at least 5 years, despite previous plans for the ageing vessel to go. Westmoreland and Furness Council had committed to replacing the Mallard, which carries cars and passengers, with an electric ferry. We've reported on it many times, but the plan, which was delayed in 2023, is now on hold. The search for a new vessel is not continuing at the moment.
But it's a question that I want you to share what you're up to.
This is The New Voice, waking up listeners to BBC Radio Manchester. As Stockport native Joe McGrath presented his first breakfast show this morning. He says he's buzzing to take over the role. And wherever you live, you can also listen to him, if you wish to, on BBC Sounds. Now, a worrying rise in sexual assault cases involving people under the age of 18 in Cheshire has seen the launch of a new scheme by local police. It's thought to be the first of its kind in England, with officers working directly with schools to inform young people about consent. Molly Brewer reports from the Whitby High School in Ellesmere Port.
So we're going to look specifically today at the work with Cheshire Constabulary around consent. Now,
the students in this class are around 15 to 16 years old. That's exactly the age group being targeted in a new programme by Cheshire Police, all surrounding sexual consent.
Since 2019, we've seen a 60% rise in sexual offences, and that's with both the victim and the offending party being under the age of 18. So that's a significant rise for us. We could traditionally seek to investigate our way out of that particular problem, or on this occasion we can seek to educate our way out of that particular problem.
And that's what's taking place in this session. Students are shown various scenarios and then encouraged to discuss with each other and their teacher.
Just definitely seemed comfortable and it's just not right.
Did it make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's just sort of like, I don't know why I had to do that.
I think it's quite a taboo subject. I think it's something no one talks about, and I think because we're all sat here discussing it together, it makes us all feel a bit happier to express it.
Data shows that offences are most likely to be peer-on-peer, and just over 85% of all recorded sexual offences are carried out by boys.
And it's not just the Whitby High School that are involved in this programme, it's also been taken up by 40% of other high schools in Cheshire.
But here, at this high school, it's already having an impact.
I find it so much easier to talk about it. Like, I've spoken to my boyfriend about it. It's not something that's embarrassing to talk about, and it needs to be normalised.
Did you feel informed before this, or has this taught you lots of new things?
Being informed a little bit about it, not too much, but now I'm starting to understand it more and more.
Students didn't know, for example, that underage sexual assault is sexual assault. They thought that it had to be somebody who was 18 or 19. And actually, 2 15-year-olds in this kind of non-consensual situation can have a police record. So some staff didn't realise that either. So actually having the police involved has been really, really important to us to make sure that we're really knowledgeable and what we're telling the children is accurate.
Cheshire Police are encouraging more schools to take up the programme in hope these preventative measures will have an impact longer term. Molly Brewer, BBC North West Tonight, Cheshire.
Kay will have the weather for us shortly. She's also got the first of her 25 in 25, which many people made suggestions for and can continue to do so. 25 amazing people or places to feature in 2025. Richard's got all the sport, and we've got some news about Richard as well. But before all of that, families and former patients of a spinal surgeon whose work was found to have harmed more than 20 of his patients have been at Parliament today to demand a review of all his work. They met the Minister of Patient Safety with local MPs to demand an independent investigation into John Bradley Williamson. Campaigners also say that the trust, which runs Salford Royal Hospital, is still not being open about what happened. Here's our health correspondent, Jill Dummigan.
For the past 13 years, Bernice has struggled with severe spinal issues.
I'm in constant pain. I'm sat here at the moment and I'm aware that there is pain in my spine.
Bernice was already suffering from the effects of a severe spinal infection when she was operated on twice by John Bradley Williamson in 2013. Subsequent x-rays revealed screws put into her spine had gone into one of her discs. She was examined as part of a review of more than 100 of his patients after concerns were raised about him, but she says that fact was never mentioned to her by the Trust.
I believed it was in response to an urgent referral via my GP. If I'd known it would have been a review, I would have brought in a lot more of my concerns.
But nobody told you about that at the time?
Nobody told me about that.
Bernice says the hospital trust hasn't been open with patients like her, and there's another issue. Bernice was part of this review because her operation was after 2009. No patients seen before that point were considered. But Mr Williamson worked here from the early 1990s, and now campaigners are saying that every patient he operated on should have their case looked at again. Today they took that campaign to Parliament.
We're here today on behalf of all the patients, of all the staff, of all the trusts. We're here for the whistleblowers as well.
Myself as a patient and the other people that we're here representing finally feel that things are being taken seriously and that we have a little bit more of a voice.
This meeting with the Minister for Patient Safety came after Angela's MP raised the matter in Parliament.
I think justice on the basis that they do get a full patient recall support, because a lot of these patients are in a lot of pain, so medical support, and then if they can and if it's justified, then a full public inquiry.
Mr Williamson says he's always strived to provide the best care for his patients, that he can't comment on specific patients for confidentiality reasons and will cooperate with any future investigations. Back in Heaton Moor, Bernice says she's still trying to get her full medical records from Salford Royal.
The trust needs to be accountable. I want to be trusting and I want to trust them, but I don't.
The trust, which runs Salford Royal, also says it will cooperate fully if any input's needed, that it's met personally with many patients, including Bernice, and have a further meeting planned. They also say they're sorry she hasn't felt clear on the progress of her review and have been in touch. Jill Dummigan, BBC North West Tonight.
Right, as promised, let's move on to sport. We'll have football in just a moment, but it's February, Richard, isn't it? So, of course, we're going to start with cricket.
Of course we are. Natural.
There's some big news in the 100, which is kind of the newest form of the game, the 100 balls for each side. Major investment in the Manchester Originals today from the Indian Premier League.
Yes, that's right, Roger. The owners of the Lucknow Super Giants have bought a 49% stake in the Originals for £58 million, part of a major financial boost for cricket in this country. Lancashire County Cricket Club, which owns the other 51% of the Originals, say they are delighted. The new season of the 100, which sees men's and women's games taking place at the same venue on the same day, starts in July. To football now, as Roger mentioned. The Premier League transfer window closes at 11 tonight. Marcus Edwards, joining Burnley from Sporting Lisbon, will have caught the eye of Claret supporters. But it's the move of another Marcus, Mr Rashford, that is grabbing a lot of the national headlines. The Manchester United forward has joined Aston Villa. Looks weird, doesn't it? On an initial loan. Phil Cunliffe reports.
Nowhere is Rashford more appreciated than here at this Manchester warehouse. It's run by Fair Share, a UK charity fighting hunger and food waste. Rashford is a Fair Share ambassador.
My son plays football, so he looks up to Marcus Rashford, and obviously he knows the work that Rashford has done here for us at Fair Share. So waking up to the news, quite upsetting. Obviously, everybody needs a fresh start. Maybe this is the fresh start that he needs, but once a red, always a red.
Rashford's campaign to tackle child hunger was born out of his own food poverty, growing up with his mum. His efforts earned him an MBE and turned him into one of the country's best-known footballers.
Because it just helped raise that profile about the issue, and then there was this fantastic wave of support from companies who donated food, individuals giving us money, both here in Greater Manchester and across the UK.
Racist abuse. His mural in Withington was defaced, then repaired and adorned with support. Of course, it's important to separate Rashford, the man and what he represents, and Rashford, the footballer. And it's been a difficult couple of years for the forward. The goals have dried up, there have been disciplinary issues, there have been dips in form, and he's no longer seen as the right man for both club or country.
He's become lazy on the pitch, just not doing anything.
For what he's done for the people, you know, even to be awarded an MBE, you know, for what he's done for the people of this city, he's done a hell of a lot, and people seem to forget that.
It's time to move on.
Yeah, I think so, yeah, but he's a really, really great player.
Me personally think it's a good thing for him. I really do. Like, every credit to him. Next step in life, new challenge.
So you think he might come back then?
I think so. I've got hope. Ronaldo came back.
Rashford. To the EFL now. Burnley lost ground in the race for automatic promotion from the Championship. The Clarets drew 0-0 at Portsmouth, but should have had a penalty when Andre Dazelle clearly kept the ball out with his hands, as you can see there. In League One, fourth place, Stockport County made it 4 wins in a row. Kyle Wotton's finishing up for the points at fellow playoff chasers Leyton Orient. And Morecambe, we've also had a transfer embargo lifted, are off the bottom of League Two, thanks to an excellent 4-2 win over Fleetwood Town. And in the WSL, Liverpool won 1-0 against West Ham, with Everton beating Leicester 4-1. But it's Manchester United who are the team in form, with the Reds moving up to second in the table after a 1-0 win at Spurs. Elizabeth Turlin's superb first-half volley, making it 5 wins in a row. Manchester City lost 4-3 at home to Arsenal.
Nice to have you on the sofa.
Hello,
you began by talking transfers.
Yes.
We're not talking about a loan move, a permanent move for you. You're leaving North West tonight after 25 years.
I am, Roger. I can't believe I'm saying it out loud, really. Yes, I am leaving my North West Tonight family and the BBC after 85,000 years talking nonsense to the people of the North West. It's been an amazing privilege. It's not a transfer to somewhere else, although if somebody's listening, my fees are very reasonable. No, but we're gonna see. Take a bit of time and see where the next chapter takes us.
25 years ago. It's amazing what a quarter of a century working on this programme can do to you. Have a look at this. This was
oh,
Richard's.
no, what's this?
Look at that. That's your very first...
wow, look at that.
Your very first report. It's going to be Valentine's Day, your last programme. You're going to break a few hearts.
Well, I don't know about that, but I tell you what, I wouldn't break any with that hair, would I, really? But, you know, I had hair then. I used to have long hair as well, yeah.
For all the girls.
Yeah, that was a D-Day commemoration story.
Was
all
it?
Downhill from there, I think. But, yeah, it was...
Now, listen, Kay's sitting here because Kay's going to talk...
Because I don't want him to go.
Yes.
No, I'm going to change my mind.
Oh, yeah, right.
You're going to talk 25 and 25. And, of course, it is 25 years since you joined here. And Kay's series is all about the people and places to celebrate in the North West. You've lived all your life here, apart from a few years as a student.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite place?
I think I would say Parlick Fell, and the fells up there, just near Chipping, in the Ribble Valley, not far from where I live. It's amazing.
Because you like cycling?
Well, yeah, and walked up there quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not retiring, you know. I might be stepping back.
That's what he said. So that's the 14th of February. Make a date. That's Richard's last programme. But Kay, you've been out and about. You've been talking 25 and 25. You're looking for 25 amazing places or people in the Northwest.
Yes, because there are so many incredible places that I don't get the chance to go to, and quite frankly, I'd like to spend the day with you and find out which one your favourite is. So I have been asking you for 25 different people or places. I've had some incredible emails. Cues in the title, there will be 25 more. But
24 more.
24 more. I was going to say that.
I didn't do very well at maths. Oh dear. Anyway, one of my first emails was from lovely Susan, and she invited me to go along and spend the day with her at her favourite park, which she loves so very much. 7 miles southwest of Manchester city centre, you'll find Davy Hulme Park in Urmston, with 2 bowling clubs, 2 large ponds, a skate park, loads of wildlife, and Guy, who's a friend of the park. Come and show me the amazing park.
My favourite bit is the flagpole, because we can boast about the fact that we've won the Green Flag Award for the last 6 years.
Amazing.
And of course the coffee shop. And what you might not see behind you is a carving by a lovely guy called Mike Burgess in memory of the terrible Manchester Arena bombing.
We've got a dry day, we've got an hour. Let's get some litter picking done.
Yep.
Right,
go ninjas.
Once a week, friends of Davy Hulme Park meet to keep it clean for all their visitors. This has got to be my favourite view of the park. It's beautiful. I imagine it gets quite busy here.
It's a very, very popular area. It's my favourite piece of the park because each year we have mallards and moorhens that come and nest here. And I come down with my food.
Oh, I love that!
So I'm like the Pied Piper of moorhens.
The beauty of this park, for me at least, lies in the stories it shares. You'll find plaques and quiet spaces to remember loved ones, and memorials to celebrate those who've helped shape the park. Who knew that Davy Hulme Park had a blue plaque?
Well, you know,
it's amazing.
Ernest Leeming designed this park, so as well as various other things he did, he believed that he should plant lots of trees, so not just in the parks but round the streets.
I feel really sad staring at all these plaques. Are the animals actually buried under here?
The only one that's buried is Jaws, the sadly passed away carp out of one of our ponds. He was massive. All the others now are just people ask could they just leave a memory, really, for their passed away pets.
Night, night, Izzy.
I know, I know.
So we end our magical tour of Davy Hulme Park. Thank you so much. You've brought me to Storytelling Corner.
Yes.
So tell me a story, Guy.
A story, right. When I was younger, I used to walk down here to meet some friends, and to my right used to be a paddling pool, and I used to bring my little yacht and sail it, and then I found out that my uncle used to come here when he was younger and actually fell in. So my claim to fame is I managed to come here several times and not fall in at all.
I love that. Guy, thank you. What a beautiful park that you're a part of.
Thank you, and it's been a pleasure showing you around. I'm very proud of this park.
I had such a lovely time with Guy. Thank you, Susan and her husband Andrew, for nominating it. And as you just saw on the screen, if you would like to nominate a person or a place, then drop me an email, bbc@nw. So Roger just said, don't get it mixed up again. nwt@bbc.co.uk. Honestly, you'd think it was a Friday, wouldn't you? Not Monday. I would love to come out where you are and find out what you think is great in the Northwest. Right, let's try and get onto the forecast without another error, shall we? Posty Dave, I loved this picture. Mermaid Pool in Buxton. Question, Posty Dave, can you cold water swim in there? Harwood, Bolton from Keith. Beautiful start to the day this morning. Thank you for your photographs. It's been a really lovely day today. we've had some pleasant spells of sunshine. If you want to follow me on socials or become a weather watcher, you can let me know what it's like in your part of the world this week then. So we've started off really quite pleasant and actually mild. We got 11 degrees in many spots. We're going to get some wet and windy weather through tomorrow. High pressure will build as we go through Wednesday. And then for the rest of the week and into the weekend, calm. It's going to be quite cold, though, back to overnight frost. So you can see on the pressure chart, it's this cold front that's going to introduce the wet and windy weather for a brief time through tomorrow. And once that clears through, high pressure builds in, things will then calm down. Out and about, though, as we head through this evening, it stays dry. Overnight, we'll start to get the odd isolated shower for the Isle of Man and for Cumbria before the rain starts to sweep in here. Elsewhere, it will stay largely dry, mild, temperatures 4 to 10 degrees on the Isle of Man, but it will be windy. Coastal gales for the Isle of Man. Elsewhere, between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So for many of us through the morning, we will be dry, but we'll start to get that rain pushing in. So by the middle of the day, we will all have spells of wet weather. It will stay breezy into the afternoon, but it will brighten up, a high of 7 to 10 degrees. So you can see the mild air that we've got today and through tomorrow. And then as that cold front comes through, we're then into blues on the map. We're talking about overnight frost, so cold and frosty starts to your days, but good deal of sunshine. So through Wednesday, yeah, there could be a little bit of mist and fog around. It'll be a chilly start to the day. Plenty of sunshine, though, and top temperatures coming in at around about 9 degrees. I'm going to go and put my teeth back in and try and engage the brain.
nwt@bbc.co.uk. It's quite settled. It's quite nice, actually, to be fair, isn't it?
For the rest of the week and into the weekend, a lot of dry weather, but chilly.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you, as always, for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Take care.